Wow, look at this amazing specimen of a tree. Hi, I'm Sherry with Home Show Garden Pros, and I'm joined today with Ed Dauphin, who's an ISA certified arborist. And we are here at this beautiful tree to talk to you guys about the do's and don'ts of pruning, because there's a lot of mistakes people make. Ed, so like for instance, right here, what are you thinking about this pruning job?
You know, Sherry, I don't have a problem with this particular cut
Uh-huh.
because it was cut at the branch collar, and the branch collar is on every branch. There is a collar, and if you can distinguish where that collar is, you can make a good cut.
Okay.
All right? Even the untrained homeowner can make a good cut. This was a good cut. You can see the callus wood here has begun to grow. This callus wood is probably 25 to 30 years old, and it will take another 40 years before they meet in the middle and form a scar.
Okay. And that's probably true, because that's when this neighborhood was developed.
Yeah. And so they probably cut this limb off because it was too low and hanging in the street. Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to my next thought. People ask all the time to use pruning paints or not. What's your opinion?
In Austin, in the spring, use pruning paints.
Okay.
Fortunately, we don't have the disease here that pruning paint helps to prevent.
Okay.
Oak wilt. Knock on wood, we don't have oak wilt. It got as far as Brenham and stopped. Why? I don't know. But it didn't.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, it stays that way. But pruning sealant helps to deter the Natitilude beetle that carries that pathogen.
That's attracted to that cut. And
Yes.
then, okay, gotcha. So use it or not, but it's not necessary.
Right now,
here.
when somebody asks me, do you use pruning sealant when you prune my trees? No, it's not necessary.
Okay, great.
It makes the homeowner feel better than the tree.
Right.
But let me show you some things that I do see on this tree.
Okay, great.
Like this limb right here, where it's obviously broken already. And you can see under there that browns thing that looks like a fungal mat.
Almost like a mushroom.
Yeah, it's a fungal mat called hypoxylin canker.
Right.
And hypoxylin canker affects dying wood.
Right.
All
So it's not going to go get on a living tree, but just on the dying wood from
on the
living
dying
tree.
wood from the living tree.
Okay.
Now, can it transfer all the way into the stem? It can. It's a vascular disease. Hypoxylin canker is to a tree like if you went to your doctor and your doctor said that your cholesterol level was at 800. You've got some serious vascular problems.
Right.
This limb died because it was stripped out
By bad pruning.
by bad pruning. And this whole tree was, I can tell by looking at the interior growth, that the whole tree was stripped out probably about 5 years ago.
Right.
And it's put on new growth because it needs it. A lot of people will say, oh, the tree doesn't need it. Trees don't do anything that they don't have to do.
Right.
All right. So this limb, the best thing that could happen to this poor tree would be this limb is cut off so
Okay.
that disease does not go into the main stem. Because once it's in the main stem, it's there.
Now, most people don't have a tree this size, of course, so
Right.
you'd have to call somebody to come and cut this size tree. But in a homeowner's environment, if they notice that hypoxylin canker on some dying wood and they wanted to cut it, they could just get up there and prune
make
it
a good
off.
cut.
Do they need to disinfect their pruners?
It wouldn't be a bad idea,
Okay. Okay.
but it's not necessary as long as you're making a good cut. Because really and truly, the disease that's here is not at the branch collar.
Okay.
Cut it there and you're good.
Great to know.
Now,
yeah.
here's another consequence of stripping out trees. This one. This limb was stripped out completely. And now, subsequently, it's dead.
Right.
And you can see where there's no green on it at all. And it's dead. The best thing that could happen for this tree would be for it to be cut off right up there so that it does not develop any disease.
The canker moves over
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So let's look at another place that we could literally show a good example of making a good cut.
Okay.
And not
And where some cuts have been made, so
Right.
you can kind of see.
right. So like right here, you can see where they made a straight cut. It's not the best, but you can see the callus wood. The callus wood over here. We'll get rid of the
Ball
ball
moss.
moss. And the tree is eventually going to close this over. This over here was actually a better cut. And the tree is eventually going to close this over. But even a small cut can take 10 to 15 years before it completely closes over. Now this right here was a terrible cut. because they left a 6-inch stub.
Right.
And this right here is going to literally have to rot, decay, and fall off before the tree will close that over with the
which
callus
could take
wood,
several years,
which
right?
could take decades.
Yeah, and this one right here has decayed where they cut, so they left a little nub, so it's finally decayed.
Yeah.
And,
and
now it's going to be able to
now the
callus
tree will
over.
be able to callus over.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, for more information and great tips like this from Ed, join us on Saturday mornings from 7 to 9 on Home Show Garden Pros.